And we're back because the guys wanted me to come on late. So we're doing a late night wrap up of NBA free agency for day one for the Lakers. It is the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Truly appreciate you joining us. Hopefully you are still awake. I know a lot of us are or wanted to sleep. Yeah, I know. JSJ, I don't know. I can't explain it. Rob is at it again. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Joe's coming on here in a few minutes. I heard even Sean might be coming on late at night. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe. Get those latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. I wasn't even trying to come on. I wasn't even thinking to come on. But the guy said, we need to do a show. And I was like, why? Because. Why? Because. Why? Well, I'm here for tonight to go ahead and talk about the Lakers, okay? And late night, Lakers Fast Break, JSJ said, why do we sign LaRavia for part of the MLE SMH? I agree. Chris, no good signings, really? No. Now, mind you, they may be waiting for DeAndre Ayton, who clears waivers on Wednesday. But then again, Golden State might also be thinking that same team or other teams that need a center. So there may be a little bit of a bidding war that takes place. JSJ said if we miss out on Ayton because of LaRavia, oh my gosh. And then the Jake LaRavia signing has not inspired a lot of you guys out there. Seeing the fact is that there were several signings. Gary Trent Jr., for example, right around the same skill level as Jake LaRavia. Some would say he's even better. And he signed for less with the Milwaukee Bucks just a couple hours later. So I don't know what to tell you guys. To me, it was truly disappointing. I think it was the fact that the Lakers, again, wanted to sign him early or sign someone early and make sure that was taken care of. But needless to say, the best thing you can say about LaRavia is even if he flakes out, as I said before, it's not an expensive contract. It's $6 million. It's 2 years, $12 million. It's $6 million. You can send him away, still have plenty of cap space for the summer of 2026. But then again, that's the problem. As Joe and Empire Jeff has been talking about the people who, like us, are very upset and frustrated that not much has been done during this free agency period and leading up to it with no trades or activity. He's been on right there at Empire Jeff TV on Twitter, telling you guys just to cool down and relax. But I think a lot of people are complaining out there because they feel that the Lakers, with the understanding and the words that were said by Rich Paul when LeBron James re-signed for 1 year, picked up the option for his year, $52.6 million, is that the Lakers have two different timelines. And they're certainly acting like they're two different timelines where they're not totally punting on the season, but they're not really going all in either. Which, again, as we talked about in the leading up to the days, I'm not going to change my stance. This team had a window open. I don't think OKC is a dominant team by any stretch of the imagination. Now, mind you, they have a lot of great pieces that they could go ahead and get even better with. But as of now, from what we saw, they are flawed. They do have flaws. And Houston sees this and is taking advantage of it. Denver sees this and is taking advantage of it and getting more flexible and doing things that they can do to help probably build up their bench and also save money in the long term as well with the trade for Cam Johnson. Minnesota, with the re-signing of both Naz Reid and Julius Randle, they see this as far as what they need to do. They think by loading up or bringing everyone back, that they can be a team that can supplant OKC the next time around. These teams all think they have a shot against OKC. And then the East, Atlanta, Orlando, these teams think, hey, things can go our way. Jason Tatum got hurt. He's out. Boston's pretty much has to retool and call it a season for now. So with that, they feel they can retool and get better themselves and see what they can do at the East. Because all it takes is an SGA injury or a Jalen Williams injury right now, if they keep the status quo in OKC, for it to be problematic for OKC in the long run. But Frank, again, great to have you here, my friend. I hope all is well with you. Good to always see you in the chat when I see you in the chat. I'm just going to say that, again, OKC is a team with a lot of flaws, especially in the half court. And they're dependent on two people. And all it takes is one of those two individuals for them to go ahead and really have a hard time advancing in the playoffs. And Houston recognizes, so they're loading up. Denver, some moves. And then also as well, of course, like I talked about with some of the other teams. But the Lakers, again, Empire Jeff says just to relax. Joe says it's all going to be handled accordingly later this year. But the problem is, Joe, are the Lakers punting this season?
No. They're not punting. They wouldn't be going after DeAndre Ayton if they were punting. And they're going to wait for this thing to clear so there isn't any pussy-ass bitches in the league that are going to complain about tampering by the Lakers. So they're playing it closer to the chest.
That Jake LaRavia signing is not doing us any favors. It's not inspiring anyone. Well, okay, maybe the hacked stuff that we were commenting and laughing about leading up to it. That was the most interesting part of the day, was the hacked tweets that you guys were sending around. I'll just leave it at that. But Jake LaRavia doesn't inspire a lot of people, especially the fact that several other players, Joe, with the skill level in and around Jake LaRavia, were signed for at or less with other teams. So,
well, the first advice I'd give to any celebrity is to eliminate X/Twitter from your portfolio and live a normal life, so that you don't have to come back with some stupid lame ass somebody hacked my, what is this, 2008? Seriously, I got hacked. I didn't have 99% of the population has never even heard of this guy. Who's going to go hack his shit and blame him for looking at some picture of some whatever? I would have deleted that account so fast you wouldn't even know it existed.
But he's psyched and happy to come to LA. He said, "Let's go, LFG. Let's go." Yes, that was one of his other tweets on Instagram.
Let's go where?
Yeah, I know. What's up, Felix? How you doing, my friend? Great to have you on Facebook. Osmosis Joe, JSJ, Hustler.
This is why you needed to get on. There's already 45 people in the room. That's why you needed to get on.
There was a lot of people that want to vent. JJ Reddick's assistant is even here. So shout out to him. I love these names that they give, these profile names. So funny. So funny. But Frank, so is next year a gap year for the Lakers?
No.
DeAndre Ayton does not make it a championship winning year, Joe. Not just DeAndre Ayton. I mean, you have to build more than just a DeAndre Ayton. So is next year a gap year for the Lakers?
No. You have a budding potential MVP that's in shape and ready to go. Finally has an extended offseason where he can actually rest and focus and have a training camp and preseason games with his new team. LeBron is going to do what LeBron does. Luckily for Laker fans, this is the last year we have to hear this bullshit from his lackey or cronies that are around him.
Felix wants to know what's up with AR-15 declining. I know you haven't been here in a couple of days, but pretty much what we spelled out is the fact that this was very much expected, Felix, because as I've said, leading up to it, he's going to decline. He was going to decline any offer that was made by the Lakers, in this case was 4 years, $89.5 million, is because if he starts next season, gets another 25-5, he'll be a free agent in the summer of 2026, and his representatives, I'm sure, will be asking for much more than that. I'm assuming well over $100 million. I'm assuming probably starting around the $30 million range is what they'll be asking for. Whether or not he gets it, we'll wait and see. But this is one of the reasons why I wanted Austin Reeves being highly considered in a trade, is because the fact that there is now the possibility we could lose him. There's still plenty of time. There's a summer. There's always the months leading up to the trade deadline. But people are getting upset because they think that we've lost DFS for because there's been no sign and trade as of yet. Been no adjustments made by Houston because they want to sign both DFS and Capella, and may need to do a sign and trade to do it. So if that's the case, there is a possibility, strong possibility, we may lose DFS for nothing after we spent whatever salary D'Angelo Russell was in 3 second rounders. But if that's the case, I don't want to see that happen again with losing Reeves and or Rui for nothing next summer, Joe.
Who's going to give you a player that's better than the two and not have him 2 or 3 or 4 years in a contract? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Is there a disgruntled? Is there a disgruntled player out there? I'm not saying Giannis is disgruntled. He doesn't look disgruntled. I think he's biding his time to see what's going to happen with Milwaukee in terms of contention. Is there a star out there that is better than Austin and Rui to where and isn't on a contract that's going to be 2 or 3 years, because the Lakers want to keep things open next summer and it's summer of 2027 when the real ownership comes in so that they can actually work? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And coming on here, for the new people who are coming on here, and you just start a sentence with, "Oh, this sucks." You're not doing yourself any favors. This isn't Twitter. This show is not Twitter or X or any of those douchebag social media sites. Come with something that makes sense instead of LeBron sucks, Luka sucks at defense. Oh, no shit. No shit. He sucks on defense. Okay, great. Good to know. So how are they going to work around this? Bring something to the table. Don't be like the guys that are getting paid to be a bunch of fucking liars and douchebags about basketball, sitting there telling me this Arabian guy, I'm just calling him an Arabian guy because it's easy to say, is all of a sudden going to be this guy that's going to do something. And I'm in shock when I heard that. I was like, I barely know this player, barely. And then when you look at his actual statistics, he's one of the worst defenders in the league. Yet there's somebody out there that's a reputable guy saying that this guy's got tenacious defense. Tenacious. He didn't even say he can play a little defense. Tenacious D. I thought he was talking about the band. Like, what the hell is he talking about? What does this have to do with Jack Black?
I did want to mention, though, that, when it comes to Jake LaRavia, there was a reason why he was traded from Memphis to Sacramento, and that Sacramento did literally next to nothing to try and retain him. I understand the Lakers are trying to clear cap space for 26 and 27, but, man, that window's open. The window's open now, and the Lakers are just seem to be finding themselves, facing that the window is open, but they seem to be just taking a step back, a little bit farther, a little bit farther, a little bit farther. And I don't think DeAndre Ayton just bridges that gap all by himself. That's the problem. I just don't think that what I see from Rob Pelinka is a plan that's ready for action now, regardless if it's LeBron's time frame or not. And we'll get into LeBron here in a minute, because he has been the source of much conversation all over YouTube. I know you don't like Twitter, so I'm going to say YouTube. But right now, Joe, it just seems like, the plan from Rob Pelinka is get what you can. But like you said before, pretty much stay pat.
No, I don't believe that's what it is. I believe that you gotta wait. We gotta wait till Wednesday to see how this plays out. There's rules you have to follow. Otherwise, I told you, you already got a bunch of hacks in the NBA that are gonna start whining and bitching if the Lakers were making a report that they already have DeAndre Ayton. That's why there's nothing that's coming out. DeAndre Ayton knows where he's going. There's no way he makes that deal. This isn't a 35-year-old player who's trying to go play for a winner on his last leg. DeAndre Ayton is going to go somewhere so he can showcase himself, so he can get a $120 million deal next summer.
Why couldn't he do that in Golden State? Just simply because the fact Draymond
Green
is there?
He could, but he's not going to be able to do. He has an attitude over there. There's somebody over there that's going to get into his face. Does he want to deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
And is that team really conducive to his skill set? It's a perimeter shooting team. It's not a distributing. He doesn't have distributors on that team. I mean, I know people have this delusion that Steph Curry is one of the best point guards ever. He's not a point guard in the traditional sense. A true point guard is someone who, in my history of watching basketball, is a distributor, a true point guard. Steph Curry should be called an HG, a hybrid guard. You could say he's one of the. He pioneered it. He wasn't the first one. There's been guys like that. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was somewhat kind of the same way back in the day before it was in style to shoot the way Steph shoots now and the way the league shoots now. But Steph is not a shooting guard and he's not a point guard. He is a hybrid guard. And he's not going to create an offense that's going to enhance DeAndre Ayton's skill set. DeAndre Ayton will be the guy that's waiting for the ball to get to the rim to rebound. And he can rebound. He's a double-digit rebounder guy. But he's going to want opportunities to drop 20 and 10 more. And he'll get that better in L.A. And the L.A. stage is still bigger than Golden State, no matter what's going on over there.
Once again, it is the late night with the Lakers.
Yeah, he's not going to the Pistons. That's not going to happen.
That is Gerald Glassford along with Joe Soro. Appreciate the super chat as always from Intel Wild. He says we are so screwed, for lack of a better term.
We're not screwed, guys. You guys gotta open your ears and close your mouths and watch.
No, again, I'm not going to do that because, again, the window is now. By the time the Lakers could be ready, by the time Mark Walter takes over the team, by the time Rob is out of there and they put real personnel in there, Boston Celtics might have reloaded.
No.
There are other teams out there that might be substantially better than the Lakers. So it makes that job a lot harder.
No, that's I don't believe that's going to happen. I think the Celtics losing Jason,
but you don't know.
I think losing Jason Tatum is catastrophic. Essentially, next year's it's a Dunsky for the Celtics, and you never know when these guys can come. Not everybody comes back from a Achilles tear like Kevin Durant. So I'm not really too worried about the Celtics, especially with the current system. The current system is choking. It's going to start choking the teams that have two supermaxes, which the Celtics have, because they're not going to have any depth. And you're talking about now, if you're going to stick with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in Boston, that means more minutes for those guys because they're not going to be able to have depth because they're not going to be able to pay for the depth.
Well, their payroll has been substantially reduced, Joe.
Sure.
And all that take is one more move, and they can be under the tax. That's how close they are at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say again, the Lakers, if they don't keep up in the arms race, they will find themselves.
They're not going to keep up. This is.
But then again, also as well, you've also put LeBron to the side just a second here. There's the thought of Luka. What if all August comes around, Joe, and Luca turns down his contract extension offer, which the Lakers will also offer him as well?
LeBron James is playing one more season. You're not going to be able to build a Luka run championship team with LeBron on the team. The only thing you can do is do your best to put the best roster you can put together this year to see if you
Are they
can make a
doing it?
run. We'll know
Are they
Wednesday.
doing just that?
Once it's
Okay.
confirmed Wednesday on who's arriving, if they get a DeAndre Ayton to play center, that's a good start.
Uh-huh.
That's what they really needed.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to have a motivated player, and you have a player that works with the way LeBron and Luka play.
Well, he's going to be a free agent most likely in 26 or 27, so he better be motivated, whatever team he goes to, whether it's the Lakers or otherwise, because at some point you start running out of chances, Joe.
No, Luka doesn't need a bona fide co-star, but if you want Luka to really take advantage of his skill set and not burn himself out at the end of the year, it would behoove you to get a secondary guy that's an all-star, perennial all-star. That would go a long way. Unless you have a team, I mean, look at as good as Oklahoma City was, guys. They had one star and a bunch of really good guys, bunch of really good players, and they had to go they had to go 7 against 2 teams. And if those 2 teams that they played had a little bit more health on their side, they may not have beaten Denver. They may not have beaten Indiana. It was that close. That it wasn't a 68 wins during the regular season was nice, but they felt it in the playoffs. They got taken to the brink more than once.
So you're not concerned at all.
SGA can play defense, and that's the issue too, is when he's relied on offense so much and he's playing defense, you're going to wear him out. That's when you need a secondary guy there to lessen the load a little bit. It's not an accident that if you look at the teams that were perennial champions I'm just going to say the last 40 years, you usually had a secondary guy. Jordan had Pippen. Kobe had Shaq. Shaq had Kobe. Kobe had Powell. Powell had Kobe. Duncan had more than one. LeBron had Wade and Bosh. Curry had Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. That's why those guys were able to win multiple championships. And some of those are dynasties.
Okay. Like I said, you seem a lot more confident about what's going to go on.
It's not about confidence. It's not about confidence. This is about the reality of what's coming. This is the LA Lakers. And history has said, no matter what is going on in Lakerland, whether it's the owner being a net. Remember, this isn't the first time, second time that this has happened. You all remember Kobe in 2007. He wanted to go to Pluto, then play for the Lakers. He had gotten tired of this shit. But then he got calmed down, came off the ledge. He said, all right. I'll work with what I got. Because his only option was to go to Chicago and gut that team to get Kobe, or there was even talk of him going to Detroit. He was close in 2004 to go to the Clippers. God help us all. Thank you, Jerry West. God rest your soul. God rest your soul 50 times for talking Kobe out of that, because the only guy I felt bad for in that deal was Elgin Baylor, because I would have put all the money in the world on the fact that Elgin Baylor was not lying when Elgin said that Kobe said he was coming to the Clippers. There was no reason for Elgin Baylor to lie in that
Yeah,
situation.
I believe him. I believe that Kobe was that close, but
then Jerry West talked him out of it. He said you cannot go play for that owner.
I agree.
And that was a game changer in so many ways. Kobe was gotten twice by Jerry West. So don't this is testosterone, this is ego, this is power, this is money, this is reputation. This is how the world works in a lot of ways, folks. When you want to be the best, when you want power, when you want money, you want notoriety, whatever. This is the world. This is the world of really anything, but sports and movies are like the front runners because they're a public business.
Let me ask you this. Of course, there's the passive aggressive words in the statement that Rich Paul gave when LeBron opted into his contract. I want to ask you this. We talked about earlier today, you were like 0 and less than 0, but it's all over the internet. All these experts, which you hate so much, all these individuals, reporters that cover the NBA, they're all having shows. Jovan Buha, I don't know, he's on 2, 3, 4 shows today besides his own, talking about the Lakers. And the prominent question that's always been brought up, does this mean LeBron is going to be on the move? Does this, if he sees that the Lakers are not punting the season, as it were, but a gap year or whatever you want to call it, or just not giving it all, not going all in for this upcoming season, has your mind even changed a little about him possibly wanting out by training camp or sometime later than that, before the season ends next summer?
He has no trade market.
Okay.
No one's going to give up assets and players for LeBron James for 9 months and have to deal with his bullshit and the people around him.
Okay.
It's just, why? For what? Why? So that he can package his son over there, so they can have daddy daycare over there. I mean, if any coherent. First of all, he's not going to go anywhere where they would take him just for publicity reasons and to sell jerseys, right? Let's say Washington has some room, right? He's not going to go to Washington. He's not going to clear up the trade clause, the no trade clause for Washington. So what? He's going to go to a contender. He's going to go to back to Miami. He likes his cookies too much. He's not going to go back to Miami. So I don't care. I don't really care about anything revolving LeBron James other than when he's playing between the two hoops. Everything outside LeBron, besides the court, is absolutely useless. It means nothing to me. Rich Paul means nothing to me. Maverick Carter means nothing to me. Clutch Sports means absolutely nothing to me. I'm a Laker fan. I want the Lakers to do well. I don't give a shit about anything else. Rumors, this or that, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You want to go get traded somewhere? Good riddance. Thank you for the title. Thank you for getting us out of the Rob Sacre era. But everything comes to an end. So stop talking about you need to appreciate LeBron James more. What do we need to appreciate? What do we need to appreciate? He got paid how much money since 2018? Being a Laker?
Quite a bit.
Almost $250 million. What do you mean I got to appreciate shit? I don't have to appreciate anything. He already got paid to do what he did. He should be appreciating us for making that money for him, for buying his bullshit jerseys and paying for tickets to go to the games. We're the motherfuckers that paid for that shit, whether it's through our eyes or literally from our money.
Jay is so funny because he's saying Lakers are valueless. Are you new and or a LeBron stan? I don't know if he's talking to you or someone in the chat, but it's a different approach to you, Joe, because you were and I were along the same wavelength. It's like Lakers need to do whatever they need to do to win now, to get into a situation, especially with Tatum out of there, to get tied once again, to be tied once again, and then ultimately pass as soon as possible on the world championship list. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want, is the titles passing the Boston Celtics, especially when their star player is out for at least a year, most likely won't be back to himself for another 2 seasons. That's what I'm concerned about. And just for me, that's another reason why I think for me, the time is now to make all-in moves. But I can understand, your change. It's not a change of heart, but you got to admit it's a little bit change in your philosophy from what you were having just a few months ago.
What was
It was your view is just like, at all costs, do what you need to do for win. It just doesn't seem like you're going all in as you were
and what
before,
changed
because
since
again, you're more of a wait and see
what changed
with Mark
since
Walter.
what changed exactly? What that was unexpected. That was unexpected. It was unexpected. Now we had discussed that needs to happen, but we didn't think it would happen now. That future transaction changed everything in my head. Everything.
Okay.
And what it did was it created a positive feeling, because Dodger fans know what this man is capable of and his people. And if you're not a Dodger fan, you're not going to understand. To you guys, maybe he's just another billionaire buying a team. He is not.
No, and I see it. The Dodgers are the representation of what work he and the Guggenheims have done. I get that, Joe. But again, it's like I see it's like a race. It's like a race, and I see the Lakers still in pit lane while the race is already starting, and the Lakers are now have a gap. They have a gap, and they have now a distance they have to cover to get back in this race. And I just don't think they're coming fully equipped with it when they have the opportunity to do so before Mark Walter comes in there. Because again, the future of Rob Pelinka may count on it, because if you $12 billion, he buys it for $10 to $12 billion, depending on the valuation of it at the time that it gets approved later this year. And the thing is, do you think that if he doesn't like the job Rob Pelinka is doing, he won't get rid of him? You've already seen it yourself with the Dodgers. He took a good GM, got rid of him, and got a great GM.
Correct. And Ned Coletti was a good GM. That guy got Kershaw. Like that's what he has, and other guys like Will Smith. That was Ned Coletti. Ned Coletti is a good GM, but good is not good enough. We want the best. And there's a track record that these guys are very good at finding the best. And we cannot sit here and expect things to turn around in 48 hours. It's not realistic. I live in a world of realism. And most of the world, from my view, maybe I'm psycho, maybe I'm weird, maybe I'm looking into things too much, but most people out there, and this is not just a social media thing, people have been living in a fantasy world most of their lives because they hate the reality of their life. They're probably insecure. They're not happy with their life. They're not happy with their decisions, or it's just simply they just don't know how to have a good time. They do things because there's a checklist that apparently society has told them that they need to follow, and they end up doing it, and they end up regretting it, and they end up fucking everything up in their lives. I'm not trying to get too deep in this, but that's the mentality of the most people out there. They think everything needs to be done at a certain time that makes them feel good. No, that's not what's going to happen here. If you're upset at what the roster looks like because you've had Jeannie and Rob at the helm, well, You got to wait a little longer until the damn ink dries so that the new people come in. I'm not going to sit here and continue to whine and bitch about how they do business when I know for a fact that this is all going to change. You don't think Jeannie knows that they're inept? She's not going to sell the team for $10, $12 billion unless she knows she does need to do this. She does care for the Lakers, and she knows it's a different time. It's a different time. She cannot compete with what's coming.
Intel Wild, again, appreciate the super chats, talking smack to Darren. Darren, I've only seen like once in the past couple of weeks, Intel, so I'm not sure. If you saw him earlier in the chat, then I missed it, but I have not seen him much as of late. I hope he and his family and his wife are doing okay. But yeah, I know you're sending some smack over to him, and I get that, but I appreciate the super chats nonetheless.
Smack who? Oh, Darren? Oh.
Intel Wild to Darren, but I haven't seen I know I responded to Darren after a show on the comments, but I don't remember seeing him live in quite some time, unless it's that Darren Coolidge. And I don't think it's Darren Coolidge you're talking about. I think it's Darren from the past who's here quite a bit. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Got 120 people in the chat. It's more than we had earlier today, about 115, I think we had earlier in the chat. So Joe was right.
Yeah, the genesis of the sale, from what I've heard, is the kids, the next generation from the 4. I don't know if they've included the 5th bus that was out of wedlock.
I think they did. I think that they did.
Okay, yeah, so the bus.
That's going to be a nasty legal fight if they didn't.
The bus children cannot transfer that money. Or I'm sorry, the money cannot transfer to the children if one of those bus children dies. So they had to kind of make this deal. It wasn't just a business decision.
Because now they're all in their 60s.
Right.
With the oldest is in their 70s. So
right.
Yeah, it's starting to look like it had the writing was on the wall there. Of course, Mark Walter had the first right of refusal on an offer. And as I said before, Joe, I said 10 billion. The bidding would start at 10 billion. It looks like it ended at 10 billion, but although the valuation may increase it to 12 billion, it's still, again, it'll be Mark Walter's team. I have every faith in what you're saying, Joe, because I see it in the black and white with the Dodgers, who are leading the MLB best record once again after what we've seen with their world championship. I get it. But I don't think you're always getting what Sean and I are talking about, is the fact that there's an open window now for the Lakers to compete at a very high level if you even just make a 2 or 3 tweak things as far as trades for Rui, trades for Austin. I understand they want to leave the cupboard bare for 26 and 27 where you can build up a team more, but the problem is in 2026, there's going to be several teams that also have their cupboards bare. Will also have lots of money on the table, Joe, to go ahead and spend. That's my concern, Joe. That's why I think Houston is doing all they can now, because they see that window. That's why Denver made their trade where they got a player that's just as effective, if not more so, in Cam Johnson, $20 million cheaper. Now they may be able to go ahead and fill their bench out a little bit more than just Bruce Brown. You see what Minnesota did. These teams, Atlanta, Orlando, Cleveland, these teams, I think, all see a gap that was created when Jason Tatum went down. They see a gap and they think that OKC, despite all the vast resources and assets they have, they see if they keep the status quo, they're a very beatable team.
There's only so much the Lakers can do. There's too much money allocated to the wrong spots. That there's no other way to look at it, and most of it is going to LeBron. You have a player who is collecting 52 million plus that can't really play consistent defense throughout the year. Can't be counted on when it matters at the end of games, and focuses more on dialogue through the media with his cronies than actually putting his head down and focusing on how can I help the LA Lakers as a representative. Maybe not as a front office guy to make decisions, but hey, what can I do? Can I go recruit DeAndre Ayton? How come Trae Young was talking to Nah and who else signed with?
Well, I'll give you an example, Joe.
Who else signed
Jordan
with Atlanta?
Clarkson.
My brain just forgot. It was Nah.
Well,
Who else?
who signed?
Who's with Atlanta? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and I'll look that up. As far as you're right.
So the word came out that Trae was heavily recruiting
which is
Alexander Walker, huh?
That isn't illegal, though. I mean, these players talked amongst themselves.
That's the part where it's not illegal, right? Players can't be really monitored. So he was out recruiting. He was doing his thing. Instead, we hear about LeBron James and how his stupid ass assistant is talking about other shit. Because this guy is Kennard. That's it. Thank you, Eric.
Yes, Luke Kennard for 2 years.
He's out there.
11
he's
million.
out there.
Right.
And Atlanta, they know. They're like, hey man, we need to take advantage of this little alleyway here. Indiana's probably toast without Halliburton. Celtics are toast Celtics are toast if Tatum isn't there. He's not going to be right at the end of the year. It's not going to work. So this is your chance. This is your chance to, and it shows that Trae Young is tired of losing too. Hey man, I'm gonna go get Kennard. I'm gonna go get let's go after this. Let's do this. No, we have to hear about Rich Paul and how he's talking about some LeBron thing about championships and trades or whatever the hell it is he's saying. It's just this act has been tired for a while. It really is. It's just it's tiring. It's tired. LeBron James and his atmosphere is burnt, and that ultimately is the issue here for this season. You have one of your guys making too much money to allow you to really allow the roster to kind of even out in terms of skill set. And then you have a good player who is going to want max money. Max money belongs to perennial all-stars, not a good player. You're gonna ruin your team. You're gonna pay it when you pay top dollar for a good quarterback. I've used this example a few times. You're never gonna win. You're gonna be the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. You're gonna be the Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins. You're never gonna win. You'll have winning games. You'll be competitive, but you're never gonna be a perennial title contender.
Bloodhound, always great to have you here, my friend. If I didn't say that already, always great to have you here. I know you were here earlier. Truly appreciate all that you provide the chat. Once again, just wanted to go ahead and give you a shout out. Thameless, always great to have you here as well. Everybody, cannot thank you enough for staying with us late at night. It's about midnight. The first day, the first 9 hours of NBA free agency is done. After which, the first 9 hours, which was the most impactful so far, who do you think made the biggest impression on you as far as taking a step up in the standings? Houston? So you think that the DFS and Clint Capella?
I think getting Durant for practically nothing was a game changer for them. The only issue with Durant, and this has been an issue even in Golden State when he was winning, and that's why I have to hold judgment on how this is going to turn out. Every team, no matter how talented they are, always has a bump in the road in an 82-game season. They always have a bump in the road in the playoffs. So I'll give you an example. The greatest duo of this century is Kobe and Shaq. Even they had to go through a 7-game series where they almost lost to Portland and a 7-game series that they barely beat the Kings. And these are the baddest motherfuckers in the game in their primes. So if you think that Durant and Houston aren't going to run into a adversity at some point, then you haven't watched basketball well enough. And and when that happens, I'm going to be looking at Kevin Durant because all the other young guys are going to be looking to the two-time Finals MVP. Is he going to fold like one-ply toilet paper and whine and bitch and go make a bunch of burner accounts and yell at the world? Or is he going to sack up and say, I have to get this thing done in Houston so that I can go back once I get to the Hall of Fame and say, hey, I helped Golden State beat Cleveland after they beat them, right? He can kind of say that a little bit. And then when I went to Houston with the right team, I went ahead and won even after an Achilles tear. You got to wait and see. Atlanta, because they're in the East, I think they're going to have a chance to probably get to a conference final. And if things fall their way with injuries on the opposing team, there could be a chance where they could make a run. Hell, we didn't think Indiana was going to go to the finals, right? They didn't really have any superstars. And Atlanta actually does have a superstar. Trae Young is a superstar. He is Curry light when Curry was in his prime. Yeah. We have to wait and see how they deal with we have to see how they deal with it. But they've put themselves on paper, Houston, as a real threat in the West. Now, can they handle the pressure? See, when you're not the hunted, it's easy. You fly under the radar. No one knows who. General audience doesn't know who the hell Fred Van Fleet is. They still don't know who he is, even though he's a champion in Toronto. They didn't know who Cam Whitmore was, even though it's looking like he might not be there, right? Thompson, it doesn't matter. I mean, Thompson, no one knows really who he is outside basketball people, right?
Yep.
Now, what's going to happen when people know who they are? And criticism is much greater when they know who you are and you're not living up to what you're supposed to be.
Sharon's saying, I just want to get to that in there so you can lead into what you're saying, because the highest salary in the Lakers is not the highest on any contender. Where's the money?
The highest salary in the Lakers is not the highest on any contender. Where's the money? What do you mean?
I think it's what she's saying that the Lakers with LeBron with 52.6 being the highest salary for now above Luka. Where's the money? I mean, the Lakers still do have they don't have the full MLE to work with, but just about after the Jake LaRavia signing. Right now, they're under the second tax apron. They have a little bit of breathing room now because of the fact that they let DFS walk. We'll see what happens if they do sign Ayton. I did want to mention, though, you were talking about the Lakers not leaking out anything because they didn't want to get it out there. It's clear Jordan Clarkson, when he clears waivers later this week, is going to head to New York. So,
but no one cares. No one cares about New York.
So let me put this out there. Sean sent this
haven't you been paying attention to what goes on in the NBA the last 25 years, Gerald?
Of course.
We've talked about it. This is a rhetorical question, so just work with me here.
Of course.
The Lakers, since Jordan retired in 98, have been public enemy one in the NBA by the commissioner and by the piece of shit owners like Mark Cuban and Dan Gilbert. And it's all documented. They ruined Shaquille O'Neal's prime by implementing the zone after the 2002 three-peat. It made a difference. If you know basketball, you know it made a difference. They killed Shaq's prime by at least a couple of years, implementing the zone. That's one of the things I loved about the NBA when it came to how the NBA was played. You could not, before 2002, you could not zone, right? And what does that mean? What that meant was you couldn't drop two guys near Shaq. It was illegal defense. If you want to know what that means, watch Game 5 of the 2000 Kings-Lakers series when they went back to L.A. to win Game 5. First, I think, what was it, Gerald? The first 2 minutes of that game, they called two defensive illegal defenses. This is after Phil Jackson said in an interview, these guys are playing illegal defense. It's not being called. They didn't call it in Sacramento. It's funny how they keep mentioning Game 6 in 2002 as cheating. Yet when you look at some of the games that you saw in Sacramento, especially Game 5 that same year, a lot of bullshit was going on in those games too, because the refs were influenced by the home crowd, right?
Yes.
But it's okay in Sacramento, but it's not okay for LA. And Tim Donaghy did not ref Game 6. Everybody acts like, oh, that thing was rigged because of Tim Donaghy. He said this, and that. So y'all make fun of Tim Donaghy for being a lying piece of shit. And by him saying that Game 6 was rigged because of how the fourth quarter went, oh, we're going to believe him because we want to believe what he's saying now. See, that's another thing that I catch people doing. I go, why is it you believe a liar when they say something that you believe? How do you know it's true? And what happened in Game 5 in 2002? Bobby Jackson pulling Kobe's jersey out of his fucking shorts. You know how hard it was at that time to pull a jersey out of a short? Those jerseys were from the waist down to the knees at that point. That it was very easy to tuck those things in. Plus the shorts were long. No call on that last second shot in Game 5. So
Hernan. Well, Hernan, I was going to mention there. He said
to go back
to
the point of this, because I sometimes you got to paint a picture a little bit to really make your point.
Course.
The Lakers play under a different rule. People call it the Laker tax, whatever. When the Lakers do things, the fucknuts out there, the owners, the agents, the player personnel people get mad, and they start bitching and whining at media and the commissioner. So the whole DeAndre Ayton thing, they're not going to take a chance on that. They're going to wait till he clears waivers, and then you're going to find out if that guy's going to be a Laker or not.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It's Joe Sorrell along with me, Joe Glassford. So, Joe, again, you're saying that there's zero chance LeBron gets traded. Again, he does have a no-trade clause as part of his $52.6 million option, so he would have to agree to any trade that is made. But if he comes disenchanted with what the Lakers are doing or not doing, Hernan, welcome back, Hernan. Great to have you here. He was suggesting a possible move to Golden State. Remember, they flirted with each other at the trade deadline a couple seasons ago. Could they be doing it again?
What's Golden State going to give the Lakers?
Kuminga's probably going to go right now at this point in the sign and trade, whether it's to Brooklyn or someone else.
I don't want anything Golden State has. They have nothing. And I seriously doubt he's going to go anywhere.
Okay. No matter how disenchanting it might be, as far as them punting on.
He's always disenchanted.
Well, okay.
Guy's a freaking born whiner, man.
Okay. He
never shuts the fuck up, and his people never shut the fuck up. Anytime something doesn't go away, he's got to go yap about it. And this isn't Skip Bayless talking shit about LeBron. This is what LeBron does. Skip Bayless just yaps about LeBron not being a good player or a good enough player. LeBron is the greatest player of his generation. There's nothing that'll change that. Not Durant, not Curry, not Klay Thompson, not anyone. There was no one better than LeBron James between 2010 and 2020. No one. He is number one, no matter how many MVPs Durant won or Curry. If you came to me and said, Joe, 2010 to 2020, who was the best player each of those years? LeBron James was the best player. But that doesn't mean anything now. It doesn't mean anything about how he yaps in and around the media. You got to separate those two. You got to separate those two, and you also have to look at it from a Laker fan standpoint. I've watched 3 seasons of LeBron James in important series. It's not fucking working anymore. In those last 3 series, The Lakers have won 2 playoff games. One to the fucking Minnesota Timberwolves, and then the other 2 to Denver when they were leading at the half and half those freaking games. More than half. You can't finish games. You need to go. This is about finishing the games. And I don't care if you're LeBron James. I don't care if you're Jesus. I don't care if you're God. It doesn't matter. We are in the results business. I'm in the results business. As a fan, as a business person, as a personal thing, like when you have good friendships and good people around you with your family, it's about results. What kind of results do you bring? Are you bringing good vibes? Are you bringing a good atmosphere? Or are you bringing drama and bullshit? There's no drama and bullshit in my life. Personal life, family life, no fucking way. Never. It'll never happen. So now, looking at it from a sports standpoint, I can't control what the Lakers do. I can't control what LeBron James does, but I can talk about it. I can point it out. One day goes in. We're one day into the free agency market, and we got to hear about LeBron and his fucking cronies. You couldn't have just waited at least till Wednesday to see how this plays out. Maybe DeAndre Ayton maybe he does go to Milwaukee. And then at that point, you could talk shit. But then why would you talk shit? This is your team. You just picked up your $52.5 million contract. I didn't do that. You did that. Why didn't you take less money? Why didn't you opt out and say, hey, I'll take the $5 million a year deal. Go get me some players. Let me see if I can win a title one more year. No, you didn't do that. You wanted your money. I'm not faulting you for it. But don't sit there and bitch and whine that you want. Oh, and the other thing is, you assholes voted for this new collective bargaining agreement. You're part of that. That's why this shit ain't going quick. First aprons, second aprons. The second apron basically being a pseudo hard cap. I didn't vote for this. I had no vote in this. Y'all didn't even wait a second and you signed the fucking papers. Because you wanted your money. And then you'll bitch later. I hate when people do shit like that. That's the shit that pisses me off. And that's the shit no one talks about. You sit there and you bitch and whine about shit not going your way, yet you signed the fucking papers to create the scenario. You signed it. I didn't sign it. You signed it more than once. You should have been the guy. You are still the face of the NBA. LeBron James is still the face of the NBA. Where was he representing the player association to say, wait a minute, I don't want to be involved in this deal? What is this deal? Oh, that's right. You didn't want to do a work stoppage. You didn't want to lose your money. But then as soon as you get your money, then you can bitch and whine. Okay. I see the logic there.
For that intel, you wanted to go ahead and have us stay till 1:15. I'm going to be on here till 1:15 for you, my friend. Truly appreciate the kind gesture and the super chat. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. If you have not yet liked and subscribed, please go ahead and do so to get the latest notifications on when you go live. Like later today, I will be going live with Stone Hansen. He's going to try and convince me that Jake LaRavia and Adieu, our latest second-round draft choice, are keepers for the Lakers. He's going to try and convince me of that because I'm not so convinced at this point in time on either. But we'll have to wait and hear what he has to say later today at around noon. Sharon, I wanted to go ahead and bring Sharon's comment here because she was a fierce defender against what you were saying about LeBron. And you're not a LeBron hater or LeBron supporter. You're just someone that tries to call out what LeBron does. And the passive aggressiveness, I think, as I've told Sharon and I've told everyone out there, it's weighed on me as well. And I can't fight Joe as much as I used to on LeBron because it gets so tiring. It gets so tiring. And I wanted to point out something that Sharon said in regards to, I can't find the quote. I can't find the comment on it. I'll try to find her. But in essence, she said she is now no longer able to definitively defend LeBron because of the statement that was made upon his picking up the option and the statement that was made by Rich Paul and Clutch Joe. So all I can say is this. I mean, it gets tiring. It gets so tiring to go ahead and keep following this drama. And I understand your giddiness once this period of the Lakers ends. I don't know if it's going to end pretty. I don't know if it's going to end in a dramatic fashion. I don't know if it's going to end ugly, but it's going to end at some point between the Lakers and LeBron James. I
don't
just don't
know.
know how it's going to
I
end.
don't know why it would end ugly. He's going to play out his contract, and if they say we're not signing you back, then that's it. It's over. I think that's that. I just said that the Lakers will have paid this man almost $250 million for his stay in LA, and he returned that with a title. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
that
Thank
that
you.
we
We
do need to
appreciate
say.
that. We appreciate that. But I'm not going to. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got the Lakers 5 championships. Are we going to go talk to him to see if he can come back and play? Like, there's a time for this. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. That money needs to be allocated to mid-20 players now that can help this team move on. And yes, I don't want to deal with this petulant bullshit anymore. I'm 47 years old, and I was like this 20 years ago. I'm just the maybe a little bit. I'd say maybe it's more in the red than it was back then, because life experience, viciousness of it gets enhanced because you find out the hotter you are, the further away people get from the heat, especially when there's logic tied behind it. There's nothing I'm saying that you're ever going to convince me that I'm wrong, because I'm not. This is, and I say that not to be arrogant and saying I'm right. It has nothing to do with me. It's what he's doing. And you saw it again today. It's constant. His wife now, they're throwing the wife thing in it a few days ago. And then it's Rich Paul. I look at Rich Paul and I turn the channel. I can't even look at that guy. I've been around enough people in my life to know exactly what I'm looking at. And the second they open their mouth, within 20 seconds, I know exactly who they are. And that is just, it's counterproductive with these people. They offer nothing beyond that court at that point, right? We would like them to make things work. But the second they got, set aside in February, oh, now they're insulted. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is.
Hustler says, Joe, I'm grateful we won't have to go through another Make-A-Wish charity case draft of Bryce James next year. If that's the case, yes, I am grateful
And
for that as
was
well.
that was a I mean, that was really the root of everything. The seed was planted because it is LeBron James. He's a drama queen, and he's the passive aggressiveness is. I have never ever been a passive aggressive people, and I do not mix. I've never been able to. I can't. I could never be friends with people like that. It's too hard. That was the kind of the backbreaker for me. The fact that this team was lacking talent, and they basically pissed it away so that they could have this union of something that never happened before, or whatever it is. The priorities were to have family matters instead of trying to get. You're already limited in getting talent, and you've had a history of picking talent in that area, yet you decided to shit that away so you can make LeBron James happy, and that didn't make him happy. All this shit didn't make him happy. A year later, he's still doing his bullshit. You'll never make this motherfucker happy, ever. Because society, his fans, the people that want something from him, continue to enable him. No one goes to his face except some rancid fan. No one cares if a fan or someone like me does it. No one cares. What needs to happen is it needs to be someone of his equal, and it needs to be public. But no one does that because they want to make money off him. They want something from him, right? Jeannie's not going to do it. She wants to sell jerseys. So
Fair Note says, "What's more passive aggressive than talking trash on a podcast?"
talking what?
Talking trash on a podcast. He said, "What? That's nothing's more passive aggressive than that." He says.
I don't see the correlation.
I think he's just having some fun. It's no worries.
Yeah,
No worries. All good.
if it was a joke, okay, I get it. But if it was real, I was like, I don't see where the passiveness is. I think it's pretty direct.
Appreciate Trojan Fight. You subscribing. Cannot thank you enough for doing so. Hopefully everyone out there got a big crowd still with us tonight. Thank you for joining us on Late Night with the Lakers Fast Break. Remember, at noon later today, I will be talking to Stone Hansen. Yes, I will wake up in time and talk to Stone Hansen about his thoughts on the Lakers draft and also free agency so far. Sharon, I wanted to go ahead and
Sharon, when LeBron is gone, what have you seen in Laker history when stars leave?
And I'm not blaming LeBron for everything.
When you have a star that's there, look at the past. Look at the past, right? The only time there was a gap was in 2015 through 2017. And Jim Buss was in charge. We were killing Jim Buss. Jim Buss was more concerned about Andrew Bynum being his guy and making everybody think that he knew what he was doing because he got Andrew Bynum. And there was this 3-year gap where they were losing.
And Joe, I'm not blaming, as Sharon says, I'm not blaming LeBron for everything. You can't blame LeBron for everything. It's an organization.
I'm not blaming LeBron.
When you fail as an organization, you fail as an entire organization from the top down, starting with Jeannie. Also, a lot on Rob making bad personnel decisions. It's very uneven to this point. Yes, he did get us Luka. Yes, he did have a good trade deadline about going on 3 seasons ago.
Oh, fair notice. You really don't know me. It looks like you're new here, motherfucker.
Yes.
I tell LeBron, his mammy, his daddy, wherever he is, I'll tell it to your face. I'll tell it to your parents' face. I don't fucking hide from anybody. You're new here. It looks like you're new here. Yes. Motherfucker, I will fucking say it in his face if I had a chance. But they'll kick me out of there. They wouldn't allow it. And I'm not talking about saying it in the fucking stands. I'm talking about straight ahead like I am right now. I would say it to his face. Why the fuck do you keep sending your fucking lackey to talk? Why? Why don't you just say your shit? Or just say it to Jeannie and the fucking crew. Why do you got to do shit in the media? For what? Don't sit there and act like you know who the fuck I am. You don't know who the fuck I am. I've said numerous times on this show, you come follow me for 2 weeks, and then you'll see who I am. I don't hide from anyone. I don't give a fuck if it's LeBron James. I don't care if it's the fucking Queen of fucking England. I don't give a fuck who it is. The Pope? No one. No one. I don't give a shit who it is. She's sitting there telling me
Joe versus the Pope.
To his face. What am I going to be afraid of LeBron James? For what? What's he going to do? Act like he sprained his ankle in front of me while I yell at him?
Joe is about 6'3", 260.
I'm down to 275.
Okay, 275.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not as tall as LeBron, but he's Joe's. I've seen Joe in person.
I'm not trying to be a tough look. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. This is who I am. I am passionate about my team. I love my team. And I've yelled at family members. I've yelled at friends. People who I love to death. Okay.
He yells at me from time to time.
I love Gerald. I love Gerald too. He's my friend. Okay. This is how it works. Okay. It doesn't matter. You fuck up. I'm going to tell you fucked up. And I'm going to say it to your face. I'm not going to say it to some family member in another state. I'm going to say it to your face. What the fuck were you thinking? Why did you do this?
Luke Walton. That was funny. Luke Walton. He says horse trickles. True. Oh, come on, Luke. I think you've been here a couple times. You should know Joe by now. He is. I thought that was funny, though.
Things don't get solved very well.
Yeah, Braun would probably hurt Joe. Yeah, because Braun is taller. But yeah, Joe's, it's not like
I don't think Braun is a fighter, and I'm not really a fighter either. I handle my business when at some point you got to get really good at avoiding things in life, like drama. You got to cut it early, just like cancer. You got to cut it early before it gets too crazy, and that's the part of maturing. That's the part of maturing is you got to be able to not be around people that you don't want to be around at the beginning, not when it's too late and then they've created issues. Yeah, this is sports. This is something I can't control. I can't control Genie and how they handle business. If it was my team that I was running things, I wouldn't allow it. I don't mind a little drama. I don't mind a little attitude. You can't fight that. You can't go into. Sometimes you're gonna have a Joe Burrow type, right? A guy that's gonna kind of have a little bit of an image, a little bit of piss and vinegar, right? But the results are there, right? All right, bring me the results. LeBron, if LeBron was winning a little bit more and wanted to be the way he was, maybe I'd be a little bit more tolerant of his bullshit.
I would say fair notice. He says, "You're not a fighter." Sounds passive aggressive. I thought that was funny. Touche, touche. Fair.
Fighting. Here's why fighting is bad. Fighting doesn't, unless you're a competitive fighter. Fighting doesn't do anything for you. If I end up punching somebody and they end up hitting the ground and cracking their skull, now I'm going to get sued. And now I got to deal with that. Or I break my hand, then I got to deal with that. I can't afford to break my hands. I'm a working man. I move shit around a lot, even though, I'm also in the office and making things happen verbally. But no, I still move around. I still use my body to do things. It's the way. It's how you stay kind of into what you're doing. But the end game here is there is an ending coming, and that's probably why I'm not worried about this year as much as I did maybe about a month ago.
All right, because you see, again, you say I don't see what you see. I do see what you see with Mark Walter, but the problem is, again, I go back to the urgency for the Lakers. It's not just for LeBron. Okay, I'm not worried about LeBron, but LeBron wants to play, he wants to win, he wants to be on a team that's heading towards a possible championship run in one of his final seasons, whether it's this season or he wants to play another one or two more after that. That's again up for debate on that one. But for me, it's all about what can this team do right now in a very wide open field, in my opinion. And I just don't see a whole lot. And whether that's the directive from Genie, whether it's directive from Mark, whether it's the directive from Rob Pelinka, I think that's the problem. I think we need to, if that's the case and the fans are told, hey, this is how we're going to look at it, this is how we're going to approach it. I don't want Rich Paul telling me what he thinks or what he's been told the Lakers' plans are going to be as far as two different timelines and all that. That's basically telling me you want your cake and eat it too. You want your time. You want to be competitive, but you don't want to be competitive enough to ruin your future or spoil your future in any way, which is concerning because that means to me that you're not going all in. And if you're not going all in on a championship, you won't get to that level, Joe. And for me, Rob Pelinka is the person that I signal as the guy. Yes, greatest day of his life came on February 1st. I understand that. It saved his career, saved his job for the time being. But like you, I do see a day when Mark Walter may not be happy with the kind of up and down success that he's had in his tenure with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Genie and the current leadership have always kind of been in over their heads in this. It's not their strong suit. For those who don't know, Rob Pelinka was a sports agent for 25 years? And the reason why he got the job was because Jeannie got the blessing from Kobe. It wasn't because, oh, well, Rob Pelinka is wanting to be a general manager or a player guy in the NBA. It was Kobe saying this guy's a good guy and he'll do the job well. I think that's what he said. Would you say that he did do his job well?
For that day, yes.
And you look at guys like Brad Stevens, he sends Drew Holiday to Portland, gets out of that huge contract that's got extended years still on it, gets back a better player and
2 second-round draft picks.
2 second-round draft picks. So why is that? Why was Brad Stevens able to do that versus Rob Pelinka doing something like that? Well, it's because Brad Stevens probably has better relations with the people in and around the NBA.
But even you admit, Joe, and I understand that you and Empire Jeff are willing to give Rob more leeway than, say, me or Sean but you got to admit that the history for Rob Pelinka from a talent evaluation standpoint is up and down. I mean, there are the misses. There are the JHS's misses. There is Maxwell Lewis, where we spent money to move up in the draft to get him. There is Alex Caruso sent packing by keeping THT over him. Russell Westbrook, he could have said no. I don't care what kind of dinner that he had with AD and LeBron. He could have said no because he could have seen what I saw from day one. I was on this air ranting about what a mistake the Lakers made, and it turned out to be the worst trade in Lakers history. He was in the room. I understand it was Magic that made the trade, but he was in the room and could have told Magic, under no certain terms do you trade Mike Muscala for Ivica Zubac. You don't trade a talent like Ivica Zubac go away for a guy that has never excelled in his position at really any point in time. These things over the course of his tenure, plus there's a lot more that we could go off. The fact that, remember, he built up, remember 22 when he built up the world's oldest NBA team? Do you remember that? These things are under Rob Pelinka's auspices, or he was a part of it. And to me, this is concerning because, yes, I go back to the college analogy, Joe. Yes, he did get an A on this term paper when it comes to the Luka Doncic term paper. But if you have a whole lot of B's, C's, D's, and F's, it's not a clean run for him. And just like you said, Mark Walter's going to come in here at some point and probably replace him. But it's not going to be until quite some time. And just that window of opportunity for the Lakers might grow that much smaller because of it.
Well, it goes back to the ultimate leader in this, and that's Jeannie Buss. She's the shot caller here, right?
Yeah.
She brought in Magic because of continuity, because he's Magic Johnson. The problem is Magic Johnson, as much as I love Magic Johnson, sometimes his brain is up his butt. He did an interview talking about Ben Simmons and how he wanted to train him during the summer. Did he not know that was tampering? How does Magic Johnson not know that? Well, Jeannie hired Magic Johnson to do that job. Why? Why is Magic trading a viable center for a rental? Who's greenlighting that? And it goes back to just, you want me to express my concern or my anger at it. This is what it is. It's like, really, what are you guys doing over there? Magic Johnson is the greatest person to be Magic Johnson. That's why he's gotten to where he's got to in his life. And it's a great thing. But when he gets away from that, that's where he starts to falter. And Jeannie doesn't really have the resources, doesn't have the business acumen in terms of having that part of the business be her strong suit. It's not. That's not what she does. That's not where she flourishes. And Rob Pelinka hit a couple home runs, and then that's it. He's batting 200, right? 198, whatever. But I'm not going to sit here and after what happened February 1 and worry about Rob Pelinka in 2022 and 2021 and 2023. It's counterproductive. We're complaining about LeBron because it's been 3 days and he's already bitching and whining through his wife, through his agent. It's like, dude, can we go 1 day without having to hear about your fucking bullshit? Yet we get the blame for being haters, yet this motherfucker keeps talking. See, this is the thing that I don't understand why it's so hard to figure out. I'm not creating this. I'm reacting to it. Why? Why do I want this guy gone? Because he is a detriment to progress. And the results the last 3 seasons have proven it. This is about cause and effect. This team is not the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're not the Charlotte Hornets. They're not the Washington Wizards. This is the LA motherfucking Lakers. And right now, they are the highest sports franchise in all of sports based off this new evaluation. This is about winning championships. It is what it is. I'm greedy about it. That's just what it is. So if there's a rift in that, I'm going to comment on it. It doesn't matter if it's LeBron James. It doesn't matter if it's Magic Johnson. Why are you doing this? Why are you creating a problem here? You're not focused on making sure this thing gets done right.
And show off over the course of the years that he's been on the show. And yes, Eric, he does use language. And again, I apologize for that, but that's just who he is. Unless we go on public radio, I don't think he'll be changing anytime soon. Before you go off on show off, because he called you a Braun hater, I wanted to go ahead and mention something with Div X-Ray. I had an excellent question. If you're Luka Doncic in August and the Lakers put that paper in front of you as far as with a contract extension offer, why would you want to go ahead and sign it?
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. Why would you want to go ahead and take up the contract extension, seeing how or what little is being done right now?
No, I think it's the writing's on the wall that this team is going to be building for Luka. So why wouldn't he? The only question is, will he sign it? Will he sign the 4-year deal versus doing a 2+1, which is what I would advise him to do, so that he can opt out on after the second season and then get a 5-year. I think it was $413 million. That's what I would do. But he might not want to risk it and just take the 4-year and then maybe extend it. And the CBA is a difficult paper to read.
Well, he's adding on to it. I mean, if the team does not sign Ayton, let's say he goes to Golden State, because again, they still have a gap where their big man is, and they may be looking to get him or someone else. If you are Luka's agent, are you telling him to sign long term? If so, why? I can tell. I know your answer already, but go ahead.
This is his team, and reinforcements are coming. We're going to build a perennial for you, and show off. That's something my good friend Empire Jeff likes to talk about.
Joe over the years has been called a Braun hater and a Braun.
The championship or bust. How about we compete?
Braun sexual, actually.
How about we compete instead of getting swept? I'm not going to hate on the players if they're getting into the Western Conference Finals and they lose in 6 or lose in 7. I mean, there's a history of that. Lakers didn't win every championship during the Shaq Kobe era, or the Shaq or the Kobe Pau era. But y'all don't know that. You just see what you see now, and I understand it. I get it. You want to call me a LeBron hater? Call me a LeBron hater. I don't care. I could scream it until my face is blue, but I'm about the Lakers. I don't care about LeBron's legacy or his stats. And if that bothers you, then maybe you should get your priorities straight. Are you a Laker fan or are you a LeBron fan?
Because there is a difference, and
There's a
there
huge
is a
difference.
segment of the population that is one or the other.
I'm about winning.
There's
I'm
also
obsessed.
there's also a population that hates him as well.
I'm about winning. I can't. I'm a bad loser. I'm a really bad loser. I want to win. Whether it's my teams that I'm cheering for to win, whether it's in my own life, winning is something I'm addicted to. People are addicted to junk. People are addicted to alcohol. People are addicted to gambling. I'm addicted to winning. That's my dopamine.
Derek Coolish. I'm Lee agnostic. Good one.
What happened?
Good one, Darren. He saw I'm Lay agnostic. You know, LeBron agnostic.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty funny. Eric says, I sure hope Luka looks better. He wasn't able to orchestrate the offense winner dribble. I've got good news for you, Eric. If you check out on social media or go on the internet and just type in Luka Doncic weight, he has dropped a considerable amount of weight. And if you see him out there, he will take a photo with you and hopes that you can put out there on social media. He has been photographed with a lot of fans this summer, and you can see he has dropped what looks like 30 pounds at least. He looks thin. He looks really thin. And whether or not you would think it's too thin or whatnot, he looks in good shape to me. Championship shape, as quoted by JJ Redick at the end of last season. We'll have to wait and see, but he does look substantially better than when he arrived in Los Angeles, and I'll just leave it at that. So that smile is scary to quote.
There's this rift in LA with LeBron, and it started the day he signed in 2018. It's not just our show. It's not just what I'm saying here. LeBron has never really been embraced here because he's a. LA is supposed to be this, and I find it ironic too for a city like LA, right? Hollywood, fakeness. You would think that would be kind of the cornerstone of who LeBron is. There's a lot of that with LeBron. But it's not. That's just a small. It's kind of like the mafia, right? Like Italians got offended by everything always be associated with the mafia, right? But that little group. So you have let's say you have 5 million Italians in the United States. There's like 5,000 of those 5 million are associated with organized crime, and that small 5,000 set people dictate the other almost 5 million people, right? Like people associate that with the other people, and Italians would be offended by it. Hollywood's the same thing. LA is actually a blue collar town if you take Hollywood out. I've worked there. I know who's there. You're talking about half the population is Hispanic. Hispanics work. They work for a living, and most of them are working in blue-collar jobs. Why did they identify with Kobe so much? Because Kobe was them. Kobe was the guy that worked at 4 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m. He was there every game. Swollen ankle, swollen knee, busted shoulder, busted face. Always there. That's why he was loved so much. He had to move to Orange County because he could live a little bit of a normal life in Orange County. He could go to the Baskin Robbins with his kids. Yeah, fans will come, take a picture, but they weren't belligerent. If Kobe walks on Figueroa, it would be no different than when Michael Jackson used to land in Italy or France for a concert, and absolutely people went nuts. He even said that. He even said people are the people get wacko over there in LA when he walks around LA. But with LeBron, LA never has really embraced him because he's not really that. He's the guy that says he came up hard, but came up hard when he was 8. Does he really remember that? Because I know for a fact, looking at videos and stuff, LeBron has had his butt kissed since he was 12 years old. He has been an entitled asshole since then because he's been given everything since he was 12 years old. How old is he now, Gerald? He's going to be 41.
Yes.
He's lived a lot more of a privileged life than most of the people that you'll ever know in your life. And when somebody creates this narrative that they came up hard and they went through all these adversities, yet for 80% of that life, he's actually not lived that life. You know, people tend to resent that. And he continues to do it.
One of the things I wanted to go ahead and touch on before we head on out, and once again, it's late night with the Lakers Fast Break. We are going to be here till 1:15 tonight. Don't forget, noon, it's an old favorite, Lunch with Stone Hansen. He's going to talk about the Lakers free agents drafting and NBA draft. He's going to talk about both Jake LaRavia and also Adieu, Tiero. Going to talk about how they will fit within the Lakers scheme, and he's going to try and convince me that both, despite their flaws,
No.
Lakers.
LeBron will never be better than Kobe. I don't care how many points he scores.
I'm just going to say this, guys. If you want to see that debate on this channel, go to type in LeBron versus Kobe. John Costa, who runs Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner, was on this channel. He's frequently on this channel. He has been arguing with Joe over the past several months who is the GOAT in their opinion. Joe favors Jordan, of course, also as well. He also favors Kobe over LeBron. And then, of course, LeBron is favored by John Costa. So, yeah, really funny stuff. If you want to hear it, it's available. Just type that in the search, in the channel, and you'll find it. It's really funny. I still get comments on it every week on it, so it's funny. But before we go, yes, Luka is the number 1 in jersey sales, and LeBron is top 5. I think Bronny sold over 500,000. Was reported at one point in time as 500,000 jerseys. I think that was reported as well. So, yeah, the Lakers jerseys were flying out there, and they'll fly again next year as well. Before we head on out, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and touch on something that Sean sent me. That was Sam Vecini. You know, he's a popular podcaster, draft analysis guy in NBA as far as expert, as far as going over his thoughts after the first day so far in free agency. You see there, for our audio audience, I'm going to list it out. His rankings as of now in the Western Conference has OKC at number 1, Houston number 2, Denver number 3, Minnesota number 4, the Clippers number 5, Golden State number 6, the Lakers at number 7, San Antonio at 8, Memphis at 9, Dallas at 10, then Portland, Phoenix, New Orleans, Sacramento, and the Utah Jazz. Do you agree or disagree with some of the placings? Let's start with the Lakers. Do you see them as a 7th place team right now in the Western Conference after one day of free agency?
Sharon, if you don't want us to talk LeBron, maybe you should go call LeBron and his representatives and tell him to shut up.
Again, Sharon, for me, it's not all LeBron's fault. Again, I'm
not blaming LeBron. I'm saying he's talking about nonsense while we've only been a day into this. I didn't make Rich Paul go make statements. That's not my fault. I'm commenting on it. And I don't remember Magic or Kobe or Pau Gasol doing shit like this. So why are you looking at me for this? This is what he's doing. I'm just reacting to it.
I mean, Sharon, you even said, as I am, the passive aggressiveness in this case through Rich Paul and Clutch gets tiresome.
They
I
don't
know you and
shut
I both
up.
would admit that.
They never shut up. So
But
what do you want me
he
to
is
do?
not. He is not to be given the entire blame for whatever the Lakers situation is. Again, there are a myriad of factors, and this organization as a whole, has and the way it's been run from top to bottom, as a collective has to be to blame. I mean, Luca to an extent, LeBron to an extent, the players to an extent, the coaches to an extent, the management, the ownership, whatever you want to say, they all have a piece as far as the Lakers' success, but also when they don't get to the title, when they don't get to the mountain peak, they also have to be all held accountable as well. So yeah, it's not all LeBron's fault. I know he gets a lion's share of the blame, but I do want to go ahead and make sure that there is a lot of blame pie to pass around, Sharon. So, but I did not think it was a good statement to make out there. It was very passive aggressive. I wish you would just say that to the Lakers straight up in private. He may have, or they may have, but will that expedite? Obviously, whatever LeBron said or whatever Rich Paul said, as far as publicly, has not caused the
If it was
Lakers to.
just what does she say? I don't think the statement was deep. No, it wasn't deep. But when you see the guy that yapped Rich Paul, and then he has to make another. I thought these guys were smart. They didn't think that people were going to overreact, and now you're backtracking and yapping about why you're yapping.
Well, it didn't light a fire under Rob Pelinka, is what I don't think it.
And this is day one. Day one of free agency in a situation where they can't do shit yet until Wednesday if they want their guy.
Fair enough.
Can you wait? Can you wait till Wednesday so we can wait to see what happens when it's legally allowed to do something?
Yes, because DeAndre Ayton, again, he has to clear waivers because he negotiated a buyout of his contract. I think about $9 to $10 million, I believe, is what was negotiated out of it. So he could get his release and go out there as a free agent. He has to clear waivers, and that takes about 48 hours to do. I believe Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, if I remember correctly, is when he officially clears waivers and can be pursued by other teams, everyone. Although you guys are right, we may know by that time where he's headed because it'll leak out most likely. I mean, it already leaked out where Clarkson is going to head out once he clears waivers. The same could be said for Cole Anthony because he is in the process of negotiating a buyout too, and he'll be available out there later this week. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on. I can't believe Memphis. Scottie Pippen Jr. was the only good thing about that playoff series, Joe. And you know what? They liked his work so much in that playoff series, they got Ty Jerome to play in front of him instead. That's a slap in the face. I was wrong on Scottie Pippen Jr. Dead wrong on Scottie Pippen Jr. I've said that many times. I'm out in front of being honest with everybody. I blew it. Came to evaluated Scottie Pippen Jr. He has proved himself to be a true NBA player, and he was the only player to really kill it in their time of need in Memphis against OKC. And that's how they show him, instead of saying, oh, yeah, we got you here in the future. They've got him for 4 years, $8 million, but they throw another roadblock in front of him. Instead of Cole Anthony, now it's Ty Jerome. So that just blows my mind. But, yeah, it is what it is. But I want to get back to this real quick, Joe, before we head on out. Again, we're staying on the line for 1:15. I gave Intel my word on that. My word is my bond. At least I try to make it so. Seeing that list as far as Sam Vecini's, do you see anything that you would change from that? Because I see a couple things I would tweak.
It's just too early.
I don't know, just for funsies, just trying to provide conversation at 12:54 at night.
I think the top 4 is probably accurate based off what's already happened, and then 5 through 8. The Lakers get DeAndre Ayton, and they just get DeAndre Ayton. That puts him, to me, that puts him in the 5 spot right away.
Okay.
Clippers, I don't know what the hell I don't know what that's about. Golden State, they got weaker. They get weaker every year. Spurs at the 8.
Do you like what Dallas did?
I don't think Dallas is going to be a 10.
I think they move up a little bit in my estimation.
But then again, Jason Kidd's their coach, so maybe they're not too far off. If Jason Kidd, and this is the part that's so difficult because Jason Kidd's one of the all-time greats, team player, the whole thing. I couldn't believe him saying that. I hope he was joking at putting Cooper Flagg as the point guard. I don't know.
Phoenix, are you sold that Phoenix might have done some things? Because we talked about them during the draft as one of the teams that I'm not sure I really entirely get what they're doing. I mean, they got essentially 14 feet of roughly the same type of player, which hopefully will work out. They still don't have a point guard on that team, which is amazing. But they've got 5 shooting guards on that team. Good luck. I'd say that's a very ill-fitting team right now, and they really didn't do much in free agency to alleviate some of those concerns. Number 12, but if they do find a point guard, who knows? I could see them maybe possibly moving up a couple spots, but for the most part, I could see that happening, and I understand that moving the Lakers down is the chic thing to do right now because the Lakers have moved down. They've already lost in Vegas here. The lines have gone down on the Lakers as far as where they were at as a favorite to now maybe not as much of a favorite after day one. But like you said, it's day one. We have to let this play itself out. Obviously, the Lakers are playing the long game and trying to figure out what's going on for DeAndre Ayton. I don't know if DeAndre Ayton is the be-all, send-all, but again, we're going to have to ride it out and wait for the Lakers. I wish Jake LaRavia would have come at a cheaper cost or not at all because I'm not sold on him. I saw players that were similar in ability as him go for cheaper prices today, and like starting with Gary Trent Jr. To Milwaukee, I believe for $6 million for 2 years or something like that. Really, not that expensive price. But again, Joe, it seems like a year, even with DeAndre Ayton, that the Lakers are not going all in. But as you said to be patient. And as soon as Mark Walter takes over, things could be a lot different.
Yeah, it's how do I say this?
JSJ, it's still something the Lakers can move off of. $6 million or 2 for 12 is not earth-shattering. You can move off that contract pretty easily if he's not good. Go ahead.
The Lakers have many expiring contracts already here. There could be things that could be thrown their way still. Some team may want Austin, some team may want Rui. This has to kind of play out. There's no other way to look at it. Let this play out, and if worse comes to worse, where you're keeping these guys for one run, it's okay if you lose them next year without compensation because this team is going to be cleared of the salaries in abundance. And the Lakers will be under the cap for the first time in years, and they'll be able to sign people outright and have the advantages of having those things that they haven't had in a while.
And that's the caveat I have. That's the favorable caveat, Joe, is that in 26 and possibly 27, the Lakers will have a lot more to work with. The problem is there's a lot of other teams as well that will have open cap space in those years. But the Lakers will have their first-round draft pick. They will have options open and available to them. So 26 is great, but the problem is, with what they're doing now, it even just sends the message to Lakers fans that they're looking towards those years as well.
Yeah, that's how you build a perennial. You think Sam Presti getting Paul George was traded for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in 2020. And it took him how long to win a championship? Building the team? 5 years later. This is about setting the stage for what's coming. I'm hearing the term that they're wasting another year of Luka Doncic's prime. Guys, he just hit his prime. Like his
but you
real
don't want to
prime.
ruin any years off of his
No,
prime.
but you also can't jump into something because you're eager to get things going. Otherwise, you're going to turn into Dallas, where you're going to have to use Luka as this savior in every game and in every series, and he's going to get burnt out, and he's going to hurt his calf, and then all of a sudden he's going to get injured more and more as time goes. This team needs to be built for Luka Doncic to preserve himself and to be able to have enough around him to dominate without killing himself and killing probably the secondary star on this team, because I believe this team needs a secondary equal star, and then you can build around those two guys.
It has to be approved by the governors as far as the sale is concerned. I think that comes later this year. I think October, I think it's been mentioned. Is that correct, Joe? Later this year as far as when they can officially approve Mark Walter as the owner of the Lakers, and when the final valuation of the team, whatever number it ends up being, will get made, 10, 11, 12, or somewhere in between. But I believe it is in October when the governor's meeting takes place, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. They will vote on it, and then it'll be ratified after everything is cleared in terms of the voting.
And then that once the official, contracts are signed, money, arrangement takes place officially, Mark Walter gets in there. We'll see what happens. But will he be a hands-off owner at first? Will he just observe? Is the question.
Well, Mark Walter is he is a hands-off owner. There isn't you see Mark Walter when they're at the podium to receive the title, or if there's a special occasion that involves.
But he's been part of the group that got for the Dodgers a really top-notch player personnel GM in place, and he helped create an organizational structure that has created this Dodgers, for lack of a better word, empire.
Yes. So Mark Walter is the main guy, and then you have Stan Kasten, who's the president, and then even Stan is usually only there.
Is money tied to the Lakers as well on this deal?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't looked into the details exactly, but there's everyone does their job, and then they leave Andrew Friedman alone to do what he needs to do. Andrew Friedman does the work, and then when the call comes in, hey, Stan, this is what Ohtani is requesting. Oh, okay, let me talk to Mark. Stan Kasten calls Mark. Hey, he's going to defer $680 million. What? Right?
Yes.
Really?
That was. I wonder if Mark was driving when.
But hold on. There's a caveat to it. If you sell the team, Mark, that opens up a clause in Ohtani's contract that he can opt out.
Yeah. And
then the caveat on that too was, if Andrew Friedman gets let go, I have the option to opt out. So what that did is Ohtani essentially got a strike in bowling on all three. Like, what? Really? You serious? Everyone benefited from that. Everyone was validated. Like, I'm leaving if the owner isn't Mark Walter. And then Andrew Friedman, hey, if this guy bounces, I got to have a choice to bounce too. And then you got Stan Kasten sitting there in the middle going, shit, this guy loves my owner. He loves my player personnel guy. Hell yeah, here's the president. Boom, gavel down. Let's go. Let's make this happen. And that's a beautiful, that you cannot buy that. You cannot buy when you have a powerful man like the Guggenheims, and then you have someone like Stan Kasten, and then you have someone as good as Andrew Friedman. Imagine when the Lakers have that kind of setup, and they will have it. You're not going to have to ever worry about the Rob Pelinkas, the Genie Buses, anyone else. No more. And when you've been around it as a fan and seen the results, you truly understand how precious and beneficial that is, especially from where you for those of you who aren't Dodger fans, my God, you think Genie and Rob are bad? Try supporting a team with Frank McCourt as the owner and his wife. That place was an absolute shit show, gutter trash with Frank McCourt and what that guy and his wife were doing. You guys would have pulled your hair out.
Cover your ears, Joe. I'm not allowed to say the Rambi Pope because Joe gets upset. The Rambi.
No more of that. No more of that.
That's one thing that has to go. The Rambi, both Kurt and Linda. Thank you, Kurt, for all the contributions you made as a player and assistant.
I don't
coach.
Want to see or hear or know anyone handling this business in that group.
Yes, Bloodhound. He does. I think, McCourt does, but doesn't he? Is it kind of a partnership, though?
Collects. I found out he collects the money from it. He doesn't necessarily run it.
But there's a part that goes back to the Guggenheims. Isn't that not correct?
Yeah, but they run it, but apparently he gets a big chunk of it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was still a shared thing. I read that.
And when you look at somebody like Frank McCourt, he looks like his face matches his piece of shitness.
That divorce dragged out forever, man. That was just
high. I call them high class trash. I run into it's like the Kardashians. The Kardashians are they're high class garbage. Their existence is garbage, but because they have money, they're put on a pedestal. But they're really at the core of who they are. They're very dirty and trashy.
Watts, that's a great question. What are the Lakers' next moves? I think because you didn't see much activity today, I think they are putting a lot of their marbles into offering DeAndre Ayton a contract when he becomes available. DeAndre Ayton finalized a buyout with the Portland Trailblazers. I know for some of you guys, you're repeating it, but I wanted to make sure Watts is up to speed on this. He finalized a buyout to leave the Portland Trailblazers. He is on waivers for 48 hours. So once he clears waivers, because if you tried to sign him while he's in waivers, you would have to pay him that full 20 some odd million amount, and nobody wants to do that. So what they're doing is they're waiting. All these teams are waiting for him to clear waivers, which will be Wednesday, I believe, if I remember correctly, 2 p.m. Pacific time. So the Lakers, Golden State, Milwaukee, as has been mentioned, Miami has also been talked about. Other teams that supposedly need a big guy, they will be in the running for him as a viably, I guess, competent center position. Again, it all depends on which motivated DeAndre Ayton. Is it DeAndre Ayton that's going to be the hit and miss guy, the guy that's one day there, one day not? Or is it the guy that was really part of that Phoenix run, playing well in that playoff scenario for the most part? So we will see what happens. He should be motivated because whatever contract he signed may be short term and maybe playing for a new contract himself, a larger contract in the long term. But we will see what happens with DeAndre Ayton. But that's probably the next steps, Watts. Maybe something as far as the lines of getting some veterans minimums, because the Lakers still have to fill out the roster. I believe they're at 12 players right now. But Joe does not foresee any trades coming up anytime in the near future, unless it's a sign and trade to clear out the cap space. But Bloodhound mentioned that there was a trade between Atlanta and Houston. I can't find it. That might have been part of that sign and trade to get Capella over to Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Maybe the Lakers, asked for too much and Houston balked at it. But we will definitely wait and see how this plays itself out. But that's probably what is happening at this point. Again, some minimums around the edges. I know DeAnthony Melton's name has been talked about, a couple others as well. But yeah, overall, I think a lot of eyes, like you said, Joe, are waiting for Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Yeah, I think there might still be a chance where the Lakers are doing a sign and trade with Houston for the DFS contract.
Unfortunately, no, Watts. Again, I was, I know you're new and I appreciate you joining us. And I'm so happy you're here. I would have personally, in the past couple weeks, traded Reeves and or Rui simply to get a lot more assets back, especially before the draft, where they could have picked up players and draft choices for both those guys and decided that
You can't
that
really
wasn't
do
worth it.
that unless you're kind of tanking the year, though.
Well, there was teams out there that the Lakers, would have been able to trade an Austin Reeves to, for instance, that would have probably been interested in a viable player and a draft pick in return, especially in a year where it was a so-so
Yeah,
draft.
if you're getting a high draft pick in this year's draft, that player is not going to help you this year. Then you're kind of
But if you're getting a player like Robert Williams and the pick for Portland, that would have been something that could have that fits those two timelines as Rich Paul
but
discussed, where you have
you're
player
talking
for
about a
now.
guy. You're talking about Reeves, who's available 80 games a year, and then you're talking about Rob Williams, who's.
It's just an example, Joe, but I'm just trying
But
to
that's
throw
the
an
point.
example.
Point is, you cannot trade Rui and or Reeves unless you're getting a better player. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Or how about multiple effective rotation players? Because one of the things we've talked about is how bad this bench was.
Why would a team give the Lakers, unless the Lakers are sending first round picks to a team to give them a lateral move for that team?
How about Reeves and a couple of the expirings, or one of the expirings, and two?
Okay, so
Reeves isn't expiring. Maybe Gabe.
it would
maybe
have to be a player that they want to get rid of in terms of a large contract. Who out there right now that would be available that has a large contract that team would want to get rid of because of that contract? That's better than Reeves.
Zion for starters.
He's
But he won't play enough necessary games for you to satisfy you. Plus, his legal troubles are. But I get your point, Joe. I get your point. I'm not trying to frustrate you, but
I would sort of be surprised, Hustler, yes, because of the setup of the team.
just giving you an example.
Yeah, but that's not a good example. That doesn't make any sense. Availability is the greatest ability to have in anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zion is a better player, obviously, when he plays, but he doesn't fucking play. So it's he's not a better player than Austin because he's never available. He's always injured, and now he's got legal problems up the yin yang. Who knows what the hell's going to happen there? I mean, he'll settle, he'll get out of it, but that's not a realistic trade.
Watts District says, who is the youngster that they traded up for in a draft and see a small forward or a shooting guard? You're talking about Adu Diero out of Alabama. I'm going to be later today talking to our NBA draft expert, Stone Hansen, who is really high on Adu Diero. He's going to try and convince me and you guys out there later today at noon Pacific time. You can watch it again. It'll be up there. It'll be up on the YouTube channel on why he thinks Adu Diero is going to be a good player. Again, I have some reservations seeing the fact that he is really good on the defensive end, very athletic, likes to get to the basket. His three-point shooting at the college level was, what's the nicest word to say about disappointing? I guess disappointing, to say the least. But it's something that can be worked on.
Do they really shoot in a John Calipari offense? Anyways, you ever seen a John Calipari offense?
Shot 26%. John.
Yeah, but
21% on catch and shoots.
John Calipari is pass, find a little opening in mid-range and try and get to the basket. John Calipari has had the same offense since the early 90s. No one really shoots in a John Calipari offense. Everything is set. Do a screen, move the ball, try to find the open man, wait till the 5 seconds is left on the clock, and then shoot the ball inside the perimeter. How are you going to get better shooting out from the outside in a John Calipari offense? It's too systematic. It's too Jim Boeheim. The Jim Boeheims, the John Caliparis, these guys are so about their system that how do you it's not an accident that Dean Smith is the only human being on the planet that ever stopped Michael Jordan. You don't think Michael Jordan could have been better? Michael Jordan, if Dean Smith had allowed Michael Jordan to be Michael Jordan, really, Michael Jordan would have been the first pick in 84 because he would have averaged 40 points a game. You know what I mean? Now, in the long run, Jordan benefited from the team aspect of the Dean Smith teachings. I'm not saying Dean Smith was wrong here. I'm just saying I'm showing you why I never really liked the college game versus the pro game. And I loved the non-zone game in the NBA because there was a time when those guys would come out after 3 years or 4 years in college. They'd come to the NBA and the transition was really, really good. It was quick. Patrick Ewing was good right out of the gate. Ralph Sampson was good right out of the gate. Hakeem Olajuwon was good right out of the gate. MJ was good right out of the gate. Shaq was great right out of the gate. These guys were so good because they were in college 3 to 4 years. And the game was better in the pros because for guys like Shaq, like Hakeem, like Ralph Sampson, they didn't have to deal with the second and third guy dropping down on them. Now that was illegal in the pros. So they had all this room to operate and become great out of the gate. And then Shaq changed it in 2002, and Mr. David Stern decided, you know what? Lakers are winning too much. We need to put this to – we need to make it a little bit harder for them.
I'm not sure Andre Drummond would be a great answer because remember, it didn't work out exactly the greatest the first time around. You don't know which Andre Drummond you're going to get. Are you going to get the guy that still can, has some semblance of the guy who was in Detroit, or you get the guy that you saw in LA?
Andre Drummonds, please. No Andre Drummonds, please.
All right. But we have made it to 115. Want to thank Intel Wild for his generous donation. Truly appreciate his.
Hold on. I'm reading. We got a new guy. Easy Money Sniper. Really? Is this Joe guy AR Glazer?
AR Glazer. Well,
trying to find Lakers channel to watch. You're not
going to get. I'm glad you stopped by ours.
You're not going to get a better show than this, in my view, because I'm an arrogant asshole and I believe our shit's the best. Because it is.
He is narcissistic. Yes. He's been called a narcissist on the air, and he actually spent a half hour supporting that comment.
Whatever you think I am, you're probably right. But the thing with AR is Austin Reeves is a good player, but he's not $30 million a year good player.
That's the problem. I don't want to lose him for nothing.
So if you're going to trade him, you're going to trade him before the end of next year, then you may have to make a decision on whether you're serious about winning the title this year, because you will need that depth. You will need his talent as part of the cohesive unit. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, it's been great having a conversation with each and every one of you. All the new people here, please like and subscribe. Hopefully you'll see us many more times. I know Joe will make you mad, will make you glad, will make you cry, will make you laugh. But that's what he does when he's here. Magic Man Sean Grice. We've got the Lakerholics that come sometimes on the weekend. They have their own show. Stone Hansen will be here in about 11 hours, a little less than 11 hours. John Costa from Clutch Talk Later. We have a great group. Legend, Alfred Esmond. Yeah, we have a lot of great people that stop on by. We try to mix it up with some great voices, great opinions. Not always Lakers fans. We like to get every now and then opinions from outside the Lakers sphere to see how they see the Lakers in the NBA. So it's always good to have you guys stop by. I'm trying to make it as good a show as possible. It is a little bit raw. We're not on the radio yet. That's our goal, is to get on radio stations. Reaching out, not heard anything back yet, but I would love to expand our audience that way as well. I know Eric was kind of taken aback by the language, and again, I'm not going to tell Joe how to be. It's up to Joe how he is, because every time he tries himself to self-censor himself, it usually goes for about 2-3 days, Joe, and I think you go back to your old self.
Yeah, it's just trying to make everyone understand where we're coming from.
Yeah, I get it.
It's important.
But then again,
it's important to
yeah,
to take it home, to bring it home as much as you can. Not enough of that, in my view. Putting your foot down and really, the interpretation is going to be different for a lot of people, and that's fine. But in the end, the reality is what I say it is, because it is what that is. But you're not going to really know if you're somewhere out there and you have your own interpretation. That's fine, but I can actually prove it. But you'd have to come hang out with me. I'm not, again, I'm not putting a front on. This isn't a front. I might turn up the volume a little bit for maybe entertainment purposes. Sure, that happens every now and then. But more often than not, it's a reaction that's legitimate.
Well, it's 1:20 a night. We got 100 people still here, so we're eternally grateful. But if you do want to hang out with Joe, do it by buying a lawn from him or some other synthetic turf need today at Simblades, SimBladesWithAY.com. Yes, he does own that company, SimBladesWithAY.com. If you're in the Southern California area and you need a new lawn or something synthetic turf that he can do for you on that, you can hang out with Joe, because he'll be taking care of your synthetic turf needs at Simblades, SimBladesWithAY.com.
I'm a landscape contractor too, guys. I can build anything you want outside. Turf is just my specialty, because 90% of the jobs out there that are artificial turf involved are trash.
There you go. As actually, the link is right there in the chat. Thank you, Search, as always.
Hudson, I don't do drugs, but it's not my thing. I've smoked weed a few times in my life. Overrated experience. I do have drinks. I will have a drink and a celebratory cigar every now and then, though. That I do, Joe. That I do enjoy.
I live in Las Vegas and have been to Disneyland. I've smelled all the weed that I needed to smell in my lifetime. But Joe also has helped finance a great video game that's out there, Corrupt, Coreupt. It is now 80% off on Steam. It is $5. That's right, $5. And you can get one of the best fighting games for the indie scene that's out there, Corrupt, Coreupt, now available on Steam. Joe, Search, great to have you. Yeah, I know you like that comment, Search.
What did I say?
No, it was me saying Las Vegas and Disneyland. I've smelled all the weed I could smell. I needed to smell. So you smell it every day when you go down Boulder Highway or you go down certain sections, because Las Vegas sells marijuana 24/7 in this town. So it is what it is. But Joe, an eventful day in more ways than one for the Los Angeles Lakers. Do you expect anything today to go on for the Lakers before we head on out?
I think you might hear there could be a possibility where there's reports that it's going to happen, that they're going to get a center, maybe a trade with Houston to get that thing figured out. But I would say it's probably best to wait just till Wednesday, when they don't have to worry about tampering.
But you might get a heads up on that, because, like I said, we already know where Jordan Clarkson's going to go. So
I don't inhale, Luke. I don't inhale the cigar smell.
He has had a cigar on air from his jacuzzi.
Yeah, so I don't inhale the cigar. I've inhaled it on accident before. It sucks. It really burns your lungs. I don't know how the hell some people actually do inhale it. No, and I only smoke a cigar. I'd say on the average in a year, I'll probably smoke maybe 4 or 5 cigars total.
Yeah, but he did that on the air one time. That was classic, right from his jacuzzi. There you go. But once again, it is Joe Soro along with me,
Processed foods are bad.
Oh my gosh! Don't.
Processed food tastes good, but it's bad for you, especially
Yes.
in the United States, because they what did Subway do with their bread? It was made from the same material as yoga mats, something
It
like that,
tastes like yoga mats. And
right?
I'll leave it at
Yeah, they feel
that.
like yoga mats too.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I don't go to Subway. But once again, it is Joe
It
Sorrell
wasn't
along with
always
me,
like
Gerald
that,
Glass.
Gerald. I think
I don't remember that time. It's always been
the
substandard.
'90s.
Pardon the
I had
pun.
Subway. I had Subway a lot in the '90s. The food tasted different. Remember, I told you how Kit Kats and Snicker bars, the taste changed over the years. There was a time
Yes.
where I would eat a Kit Kat and I'm like, damn man, this thing is like off the hook. Same thing with Twix. Twix. You'd eat those and you're like, my God, I got to stop eating this because I'll eat like 50 of them. Now, well, I haven't had those candies in a while, but I think probably since last Halloween. But man, now you take a bite of it, I'm like, why is this doesn't how come it doesn't taste as good as it used to?
Sorry about that, Watts. And then I know that you guys had the controversy with the tuna as well, so I won't
Tuna?
elaborate on that. Yeah, just look up tuna and Subway. They had a big. They were taking a cord over it, and I'll leave it at that.
No, you can't have fish anywhere in a fast food joint. No. No. Never.
The things you see and hear at 1:30 in the
Never
morning.
ever order anything fish anywhere. I even as much as I was eating that stuff growing up, because my body didn't give a shit at the time. I never ordered the chicken fillet from McDonald's. I never ordered anything fish anywhere. Fish has to be made a certain way, and I highly recommend it fresh. Otherwise, it's going to taste like complete garbage, at least from my experience.
Big shout out to all of our mods, Vari, Search, Xbox. Big shout out to Intel for his great super chats. Big shout out to all of you for staying up with us late to 1:30 in the morning Pacific time. Again, I will be back. I'm going to set my alarm. We'll be here for lunch with Stone Hansen. That'll be coming up at noon. I'll go ahead and schedule here in just a little bit, because I do have to process this for audio audience. Joe, appreciate you staying on till 1:30 with our crew. Yeah,
I knew we were going to have a big audience. I felt
and I didn't even schedule this. I just did this on the fly.
No, I felt it. I knew it was going to happen. That's why I think it was important to do it. We brought in a different fan base.
I didn't want to do it, but I'm glad we did.
No, it's good. We were pretty consistent all night, and this is what it's for. I know I probably turned some people off, but we also turned some people on, and that's just the way life is.
Do.
Yeah,
you usually do. That's the thing. I'll get the complaints in the comments. That guy, I'll never come back. Blah 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 blah. But then I got Joe's the greatest. Right above it, I'll have Joe's the greatest, and then right above it too as well. So you can't make everyone happy. That's one thing I've learned as well, especially on YouTube.
You see, Hustler, that's how you destroy the strength of a nation. You go after the males when you can lower the testosterone in the male population. That's biological warfare. That's how you weaken a nation. That's the modern day way of weakening a nation, is turning the males into tulips.
Thank you, OG. I hope you will be back. I hope everyone will be back. Again, I'm coming back on at noon, having lunch with Stone Hansen. I don't know if Joe will be available, but if he is, he's more than welcome to join us. But yes, lunch with Stone Hansen as we talk Adu Thiero and also Jake LaRavia, and if Lakers get anybody else by that time. And we may be back tomorrow night, a little bit earlier, of course, to talk about what went on, if anything, for the Lakers.
What if he signs in an hour? Are we gonna come on to the show?
Yeah, why not? I'll be
Wake
awake.
me up. Hey Joe, wake up.
Yeah,
DeAndre Ayton is signed.
I'll call you on that one. Yeah. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell along with me, Gerald Glassford. Maybe eating some processed food here in a minute, but it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Please like and subscribe. We do want to get to the point where we are with the big boys. We've been doing this for several years, and we're hoping to do it several more, but it can't be without your help getting us to where we need to be but doing what we can to help you out with Lakers news and information and opinions as only we can give it each and every time out, right here
Yay!
at the Lakers.
A subscriber.
Thank you for subscribing. Cannot thank you enough. Truly appreciate it. And once again, truly cannot thank you enough for staying up so late with us on Late Night with the Lakers Fast Break, right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Good night, Joe. Good night.
Buenos noches.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Rob Pelinka.